Thomas is sales executive with Infinity Homes. And if you could start with a brief introduction about yourself and about your company.
Sure. My name is Liz Thomas. I have been with Infinity for going just over 5 years now. So Infinity was founded in 2000 and now is one of the largest privately held home builders in Michigan. So we're fully diversified in real estate development, and we specialize in single and multifamily construction. We also do land development, land and real estate acquisition, commercial and residential leasing, as well as managing properties rented as through our company. So property management as well.
So Liz, you said that you also specialize in multifamily development. Does that mean condominiums, or what does that mean?
Yes, so condominiums. Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Thank you. So could you tell me what is the difference between a spec home and production building?
So we are mainly a production builder, and that means purchasers can come to us. We have a set floor plan, set options that they can pick from, and they can customize their house in that way. Whereas a spec, when we don't necessarily have a purchaser for the house, but we start construction on it, and we pick out, the selections on it, the options on it, and then purchasers come and purchase it. Whether it's the basement has just been dug or whether it's completely finished, so they can purchase it at any stage of construction.
So you're a production builder. You don't generally do spec homes. You do production building. We've kind of laid off on the specs right now, given the state of our market. I mean, our inventory is going so quickly that we haven't been doing specs, but we do both. And so I think you mentioned that your finishes are chosen in production. What is the buyer able to choose?
So in our specs, the finishes are chosen, but when a purchaser comes to start construction on a house, they're actually able to pick all of their, based on what we have available and what we offer, they're able to pick their finishes. So stain, tile, paint, siding, all of those type of things.
Nice. So this is a different type of question. What do you see in the supply and inventory moving forward? What do you see with the cost of what do you see moving forward?
Well, right now, as we all know, inventory is very low. I think it's going to get to a point where, the inflation, it gets so high that we're going to get some inventory back, but I don't know when that's going to be right now. Speaking with the owner of our company, we're kind of going through a time, in the history of the industry, it's never been like this. So we're kind of trying to go with the market and just kind of go with the punches that we're getting right now.
What are some of the things that you have to overcome? What are some of the punches that you're experiencing?
So right now, I think lumber is up about 400%. So it's constantly changing. In the past, we would lock in pricing for, 6 months at a time. Now we're only able to lock it in for a month at a time. So our prices are rising. Our target market is first-time home buyers. So we like to try to keep a competitive price point. And with the cost of construction, the materials, the labor going up, we're overcoming that right now. Still staying competitive, but going with the market and what it's doing. So at this point, I know that other builders that I've spoken with, some of them are not taking any sales. They're speccing all of their homes and entering into purchase agreements once construction is at a certain point. I think what we're going to do going forward is we're going to have to limit our sales per development to probably select developments about 3 or 4 a month, so that we can keep up with what we're doing and have our pricing, where it's at with the backlog. We kind of got into where we had signed contracts, and when we were ready to start construction, lumber pricing was up, 200, 300%.
I have some more questions, but I forgot. I should probably start so that everyone knows, where are your communities at currently?
Yes, so we have several. So we have locations in Brownstown, Huron Township, Lake Orion, Livonia, Romulus, Superior Township, Van Buren Township, and Westland. And I think that covers them all.
Okay, great. Again, that was Brownstown. Could you say it one more time? Say them one more time?
Yep,
Just want to make sure everyone's got it.
Brownstown, Huron Township, Lake Orion, Livonia, Romulus, Superior Township, Van Buren Township, and Westland.
Beautiful. This is you're pretty unique in this way. What is your target market?
Yeah, so first-time home buyers is our target market. We like to keep competitive pricing and give affordable housing, you know, to affordable new construction for first-time home buyers.
Carl, you have your hand raised. Mr. Browning, do you have a question?
Thank you, Dawn. I do. So when you say first-time home buyers, is there a difference between a first-time home buyer and a first-time home purchaser as far as, I guess I should say that differently. I guess first time building a home, is there a difference?
I would say that our target market is people buying a house for the first time, not necessarily new construction for the first time, just in general, their first home purchase.
Okay, and you said you make it affordable. So even with the lumber prices and everything, you said 400%. Is that, did I hear you correctly?
Yeah, lumber pricing has gone up 400%, yep, since last year.
That's even for your first time buyers.
That's even for our first time buyers, yes. So, you know, along with our pricing going up, our competitors' pricing is also going up. So the business model that we have, and I'm not much in the financial role, but we have been able to keep our pricing very competitive and affordable.
Okay, and there's
what is the price range of your homes, Liz?
So because we're kind of in such a broad market, our price point is anywhere from $221,000 as the base price to $409,000 as the base price.
Carl, we got to move on. Did you have another quick question?
I'm all set, thanks.
Thank you, sir. Liz, how much do you require from your buyers up front?
So it depends, but more often than not, we require a pre-approval through our preferred lender. And then once that pre-approval is obtained, we require a $10,000 deposit.
Got it. Carl, there's one thing I want to say. Liz is a production builder. They're a company's production builder, so they're not a custom builder. We're going to learn from others that do custom buildings as we go. So I think that other builders that you're going to hear from in a few minutes are going to be more appropriate for what you're looking for. Liz, do you work with buyer agents who bring buyers to you? And could you explain what that looks like and how an agent should bring a buyer to you, in what fashion or what's the process?
We do work with buyer's agents, yes. And so our protocol and our company is that buyer's agents have to be present for the first appointment with the purchaser in order to be the procuring cause and get commission on the sale. So our typical commission is 3% on the base price of the house. More recently, you know, the market changing, we've made a little bit of changes. So we have 4 communities, which the commission is 2%. And if you're interested, those are Legacy Park, Woodside Village, Townsend Park, and Kiwanis Park. So those are all 2% commission.
And where are those 4 locations at?
Legacy Park is in Romulus. Woodside Village is in Superior Township. Townsend Park is in Van Buren Township, and Kiwanis Park is in Wayne.
Thank you. You get asked by purchasers all the time, should I wait a year for lumber prices to drop? What would you say to this?
So, you know, most I let them know it's the market. It is what it is. It has a cycle. It's going to go through it. And at that point, I kind of just advise them that unfortunately, I can't make the decision on their investment for them. That's something that they're going to have to weigh themselves and decide if they'd rather purchase now or would they rather wait and purchase later.
Got it. So I'm going to chime in on something really quick. So when I was evaluating, my husband and I, who Mike's on here as well, we were evaluating whether we should buy now or wait. And when we looked at a $500,000 loan amount, for example, an interest rate difference of 1% makes a difference of $416 a month in interest as a payment. So if you divide that by $45, which is the cost for every $10,000 of mortgage, that is a value of $92,000. So as long as I'm not overpaying for a house by more than $92,000, it makes sense to buy now on a $500,000 home or loan amount, or at $250,000, it makes sense to buy now as long as I maybe don't overbid or overpay by $46,000. And that's just for 1% interest rate difference. So I thought that was pretty neat. One more question for you, actually two more. What would you like to tell those who are interested in your homes, Liz?
I think that it's a great investment. Right now is a crazy time in the market, but like I've mentioned before, we're keeping our pricing competitive. Again, we work with buyers agents, so I encourage you to bring us some people, and we're ready to build them their dream house.
Awesome. And do you have sales offices in each of your communities?
We don't have them in each of our communities, but we have 4 sales offices. So we have one in Legacy Park, which is in Romulus. We have one in Woodside Village in Superior Township. We have one in Park West, which is in Westland. And then we have one in New Boston, which is in Hawthorne Woods. So our models are open. They're closed on Wednesdays and Thursdays. That's our salespeople's weekend, but they're open from noon to 5 the rest of the days.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Liz. Next, we're going to move on to Adam LeQuay. And Adam is also with Infinity Homes, and he's the purchasing manager for Infinity Homes. So, Adam, would you like to introduce yourself and tell us anything more about your company and yourself?
Yes. I've been with Infinity Homes for about 1.5 years, a little more now. I'm the purchasing manager here, so I go through obviously taking new bids, finding new work, going through selections, working with sales, make sure we have the latest and greatest as far as selections, things like that we're getting the best in everything going into our homes. I've been in construction for only 3 years now, but have always been in the background just because I have a father in the industry and he's always led the way for me. So oddly enough, I ended up in the same world.
Well, we're delighted to have you because you can help us further understand what's happening with lumber prices and with the cost of prices and how to manage it. How many starts does Infinity Homes do a year?
Right now, we project roughly 200, which is a pretty steep climb from where we were 2 years ago. And, we'll hopefully even exceed that by the end of this year.
Excellent. So how many did you have 2 years ago?
I believe last year we projected around 140 to 160. So we're seeing about a 40 to 60 house climb between just last year. And before that, I believe it was just a 20 house drop. But yeah, it's a pretty impressive increase.
Wow. So your timeline for building a home from start to finish is approximately what's your time frame now?
Typically, we like 4 to 6 months, and obviously pre-COVID and for this big boom, it was closer to the 4-month mark. Obviously, that's been delayed and pushed out a little further, but we really strive to get everything done before that 6-month benchmark.
Is that still manageable? You're still able to do that?
Sadly, no. We tell everyone when they come in that it could go up to 12 months right now. 8 to 12 months is probably a little more realistic, depending on when your contract was signed, depending on even location, things like that.
Liz might want to chime in for this answer, but what do you tell those who are totally upset, frustrated with you, and don't want to wait?
I always ask for patience, whether, I haven't dealt with the customer end of things, but I obviously deal with the vendors, and I personally don't think it's any different. I have to develop those same relationships, and I really just tell everyone to be patient, because we're all trying here. We're all working hard.
Very nice.
Obviously the build cycle is a little longer, but I think on our end, between Liz and myself, some days it feels like we're working 3 times harder to give the same product that we were giving a year ago. So, we encourage everyone and tell everyone that we are trying, and we do our best to make sure your experience goes as smooth as possible.
Liz, do you want to chime in with anything else?
Yeah, I think from working with the purchasers more, of course, we ask for patience. We try to explain, where we're at in the market as much as we can. Unfortunately, more often than not, I'm getting a response, after I explain why there's delays, why it's taking so long. My response that I'm getting is that that's not their problem, which I agree. But unfortunately, it's beyond our control too. So I work with them as much as I can, but I have gotten to the point with a few purchasers where I have just offered to refund their money in addition to, up to $3,000, $3,500 extra dollars to part ways amicably, because, and at that point, it does seem that the conversation changes, because at that point they realize that they've made a great investment if we're willing to pay them, to amicably resolve.
Right. I love it. That's awesome. So Liz offers their money back plus $3,500 because she knows she can sell it probably to someone else for more. And then they realize at that point, I think we have a good deal here. I think we better just work with Infinity. Adam, back to you. What advice would you give to a prospective buyer?
I would just tell them to go with the flow.
Things like changes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think just going with the flow is great. I think we've done a great job of talking with our sales team and letting them know what hiccups the potential buyer may incur, just really hand-holding and walking them through what the process looks like now versus 12 months ago. I think the communication up front helps save a lot on the back end, letting them know that, hey, your carpet might not be available in 12 months because of a shortage here. Just letting them know of any delays that might occur later on.
What do you see? Were you in the business, Adam, back in 2008 at the mortgage crisis?
I was not, but as I mentioned, my father was, so I definitely felt the repercussions of it. Mm-hmm. He was on the construction side. Obviously, everyone took a dip. So, houses went down, work went down for him. It was a big shock.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that builders are, based on what you know from your dad, are hesitant to get back in as strong as they were back in 4, 5, and 6 with having a lot of homes on the market? Or is it just, it's a mute point because homes are flying off the market so fast? It doesn't even, there's not fear, there's just not the manpower.
I think people are a little more cautious, and honestly, it's pretty generational. So if I talk to someone a little older in the business, I definitely notice they're more hesitant. They want to reserve more capital, save funds for later on, where, if anything happens, hey, we're ready this time around. But, there are also the younger ones who are just getting started and want to ride this wave until it crashes, which hopefully it doesn't. But yeah, I do sense a fair bit of hesitance.
Right on. Is there anything else that you'd like to say about Infinity Home for those who are interested in your home?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we are still very, very, doing a great job to try and keep our profits up as we continue to keep our costs low. So with these increases and everything like this, it's not us trying to obviously make money off of you or try and gouge anyone when we do increases or things like that, and still try to stay competitive within the market. All we're trying to do is make sure we are still an operational business. We encourage you to come buy our homes. We think our process is great. We have a lot of great employees here who really want to push things forward and give you a great first experience if it is your first time buying a home.
Excellent. Thank you for being here, Adam. Appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you.
Dawn, before we move on,
Darian Newbecker. Okay, go ahead.
We have a question from Julie Perkins. So this is for Liz and Adam. How long is it taking from the start of the process to the end of the process for home building?
Right
Can I interject
now,
that? It's 12 months, right?
yeah, we're more between 8 and 12 months right now from
Okay.
start to finish.
And then Mickey Galley has they messaged, what was good, that was good, Dawn. Can you say that again or put that here in the comments? The difference in 1% versus how much purchase price. That was great to tell some of my buyers. Do you have anything to say?
Who was
about
that from?
That was from Mickey Galley.
Could you send me Nikki's information and I'll make sure that I email her back.
Absolutely.
And I'll just send it to you. We got to move on. We're going to run tight on time. We have 62 minutes left. So, but yeah, Nikki, thank you. Thank you so much for that feedback. I'd love to get that out to you. And I think that anyone could advantage from that. And I can break it down in an email for sure. Thank you. Darian Newbecker, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Don.
Please tell us about yourself and your company.
Darian Newbecker, Senior Vice President at Robertson Homes. A lot of you probably have heard of our company, just in general, 75-year-old family-owned business, third generation, rolling to a fourth generation, single market in Southeast Michigan. New home construction, new home developer.
So do you focus on production, custom, or spec homes yourself?
I mean, it depends on who you ask. I think if you ask sales, we're a production builder. If you ask purchasing, we're a custom builder. We are a production builder that in certain communities can become semi-custom. So we have a community in Bloomfield that we don't move walls, but pretty much anything else seems to be open. So, for general townhouses, single-family houses, ranch, smaller ranches, typically a production type of mindset.
Okay, so production type mindset, but you allow, except for moving of walls, the client to choose just about anything and everything.
In one particular site. In general,
Got it.
Choices are limited to. I mean, obviously you've got elevation choices, but limited to cabinets, countertops, flooring, essentially finished selection. So we're mostly
that makes sense. Mm-hmm. It's got to be harder and harder to do those custom homes with rising prices and not being able to kind of track that or put a handle on it.
It is it's a challenge that we're all facing. We fix our prices when we sign a contract, so we're not. I mean, I know other and mostly I think it's custom home builders with cost plus or different type of arrangements or having escalators in contracts. But we are fixing a price. So, as Infinity noted, if you're out 12 months, we're locking a price for 12 months, and we're trying to hold pricing as much as we can with trades, which is a real challenge. So we are underwriting a significant risk. So we've had to change some of our policies. We used to allow customers to sit on reservation for 10 days. And, if we were accommodating, if they had to wait a week or two for a vacation or for something that happened specific to a particular home buyer. But now it's a real challenge to do that because, I mean, we're not getting good news from our suppliers on a daily basis at this point. So it's a challenge.
Is it still continuing to rise, Darren, the hard cost?
It is every day. And I just had a conversation this morning on electric. So, copper, resin, fixtures, drywall, windows, roofing, siding. I mean, it's every component.
What are the price ranges of your homes?
We start as low as $250,000 on a site in Hazel Park, and we're as high as $1 million. Starting at $1 million, just under $1.2 million in Bloomfield. So we build. One of the things about Robertson is we try to find unique opportunities in areas that we typically aren't running our business around building in cornfields. So we're looking for unique infill locations, and we'll oftentimes bring a product or modify an existing product to fit a particular site because we feel it's in an area that's built out. When we'll talk about it, I think you're going to ask me, but we're in a lot of infill communities where there's not open land parcels available. So we're able to hit a lot of different price points and a lot of different buying profiles.
Yeah, you have 12 locations now, including in Detroit. What are Detroit and what are your other ones?
I wrote these down because I would have forgotten, but Novi, Wixom, Royal Oak, Troy, Ferndale, Hazel Park, Detroit, Rochester, Brighton, Bloomfield, and Northville. I think I got them all. Some of those were finished.
You missed Ann Arbor.
Oh, Ann Arbor. Yeah, we're not active in Ann Arbor.
Yeah. Okay. But I missed Rochester. I didn't know that. Interesting.
Yeah, I was there yesterday.
Do you pay?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Nice. No. Excuse me. Do you pay a commission to buyer agents?
We do. So, it's 3% is what we would pay, which I think it's never standard. I know there isn't a standard number, but 3% is what we pay for an agent. Okay.
And what's the process to make sure an agent gets paid? Is there any particular process that agents should know that when they have a builder-client relationship?
That's a great question. Typically, the majority of the time, the agent would show up with the buyer the first time they walk into a model home. We do allow registration through. We have a 24/7 online sales counselor, so a buyer or an agent's able to register themselves. So, physically, you don't have to show up to the first appointment. Oftentimes, a buyer's agent will. But, we will preserve the right to obviously be compensated if the recurring cause is through either a registration through our online sales counselor or we try to be reasonable. We're not looking to make people physically show up to an appointment they can't physically make to get paid. So we are accommodating that regard.
Nice. Do you have other types of homes that you sell other than single-family residences?
We probably 50% of the houses that we sell are attached townhouses, full condominiums. So we have single-family detached. We have full detached ranch condominiums, both mid-size at 1,900 square feet and large at 2,700 square feet. We've got multiple types of townhouses from 1 car to 2 car. Some have rooftop walkable options. We're finishing a mid-rise in Birmingham. If anybody on this call would like to buy a condo in Birmingham, please get a hold of me. I would love to sell our last. We have 2 units left, and we're looking at a mid-rise in another location. So we have a lot of different product types and price points we're hitting, other than just single family.
Those 2 condos, what are they priced at?
They're just over $1 million, but right in the heart of Birmingham.
Thank you. Great, thank you. Do you have specific lenders that you require or request that your clients get pre-approved with?
We don't. We have a couple of relationships. Obviously, we don't steer any of our buyers in any particular direction, but we do provide marketing material for a couple of local lenders that we just have experience with providing a smooth process for purchasers. But no, we don't specifically require an application through a lender as a condition of contract.
What do you typically require for a down payment or deposit for your home?
We require our buyers to match their loan down to 5%. So if they're a 5% buyer, then we require 5% at the time of purchase agreement. If they're a 10% buyer, then a 10%, 20%, 20%. The idea is just to have the amount of funds necessary to close at the time of purchase agreement. So it never happens, but you always have a story. You just want to make sure you're not building a house and somebody ends up in Vegas on a weekend and your deposit's gone. So that's how we look at it.
So with the supply chain issues, what is construction time legitimately taking for you and Robertson Homes?
We're doing better than I would have expected us, given all of the noise in the system. I mean, on a townhouse, we're still delivering townhouses in 5 months, give or take. Part of it depends on a backlog. I mean, if we've got some projects, we have 20 sold homes under construction, and you may be 2 or 3 buildings out. But in a perfect world, if we were to start a townhouse today, you could probably get in 5 to 6 months. As you go up in price points and in complexity and in selections, it gets longer. Single family, we're 6 to 8 months. Our most expensive product in Bloomfield is like you're looking at 10 months. Right now, because of the backlog there, you're out 12 to 15, but that's not because it takes that long to build. It's just you know, we're not going to, we don't have the ability and probably don't want to have the desire to put 2 or 3 framers on a site just to keep up with the surge.
Do you have any appraisal issues going on right?
In terms of
appraisal issues going on right now?
Yeah, we've had a few. We haven't had that many. What we try to do, we're working. We have comps of all of our communities. One of the things we do at Robertson, and I think most builders do, and I always encourage other builders that are on this call to do, is always record all your pendings and always record all of your closings, because it helps all of us establish comps. But we provide comps to appraisers and try to work collaboratively with them, and it's helped us. You know, we've had a handful every year. I suspect we're going to have more challenges in the next 3 to 6 months just because of the amount of appreciation in the market. But I think we'll work through it.
Darian, what are you seeing? Are you having any subcontractor issues, manpower issues? We hear a lot of talk about shortage of labor in the United States right now, especially with what is going on with our government and unemployment. What are you seeing from that perspective?
It's a challenge. It's not. What was interesting is before COVID and the downturn, before COVID and then the uptick in demand, our biggest issue that we were focusing on was on the labor side, not on the material side. And just, you know, we have an aging workforce, and there's not enough young people coming into the profession. So it, you know, but we've still kind of muddled through it. We're able to build a couple hundred houses a year, and labor's been an issue here and there. Like if we wanted to go from 1 to 2 framers on a site, we would have issues down the line with mechanical trades to keep, you know, their ability to keep up, and painters, trim carpenters. But we've been able to get through it, and, you know, surprisingly well so far. I think in the long run, the materials will turn around, and the labor's in the long run. You know, it's going to be a long-term challenge for us as an industry. I think the conversation is changing. I think 10 years ago, it was hard to have a conversation to encourage young people to go into the trades when you were coming out of a great recession where so many people lost their livelihoods and their family businesses. And I think that conversation is now changing, that it is an opportunity economically to not have to go into debt, to be able to work right out of high school, grow, you know, earn a skilled trade, you know, a skill set, and ultimately you can run your own business if you want, or even make it, you know, a very decent chunk of change just working for another contractor. The pay that is that you see in the industry today, it's a sustainable, livable wage in almost every one of our trades, with benefits often.
Thank you, Darian. Okay, so I have this last question for you. Because of lumber prices, you had talked to me before that you offer co-op on your multifamily listing spec homes. What does that mean?
I think that was, I apologize. I think I miscommunicated with you. All I meant by co-op is that we would pay a broker's agent. So there is no.
Okay.
There's no special program at Robertson. I mean, the only thing we do is
Got it.
So if you sign a purchase agreement with Robertson, you're locked in. It may take 8 months to build at times, but you're locked in. Similar to what Liz had. So, and we have had people, had buyers have concerns. I think you explained, you know, prices are up $50,000 in the community. The conversation is much easier to have at that point.
I bet. What would you like to tell those who are interested in your home?
I'm glad I didn't think you'd ever ask me that. We offer well-built houses. I think we're known for our quality and have been for a number of years, in great locations, usually in infill neighborhoods, close to walkable downtown, traditional downtowns, and other public amenities, you know, at various price points. I think we're known for a professional process. We do survey all of our customers multiple points in the process of building a home and delivering them a home and servicing them after the house closes. We do have 95% customer satisfaction. In fact, we were at 98% last year, so 98 out of every 100 buyers surveyed would choose to build for Robertson all over again. We survey every one of our departments, from marketing to sales to production to purchasing to warranty to finance and closing. So, and then we use those to become a better builder. So we're in the top 5% nationally in terms of customer satisfaction. In fact, the last year, J.D. Power awarded the best home builder in Southeast Michigan. It went to Robertson. So I think it's important that
Excellent.
as agents and buyers, you know that you're with a builder that you can trust is going to deliver a quality house. You know, and then, you know, the final thing is we do allow, we call it personalization, not customization of our houses. We have a fully staffed design center in our main office, which is dedicated just to selections. You know, it's almost 4,000 square feet. And people spend, you know, people make their dream houses down there and tend to spend lots of money. So.
Kristen, questions?
Yes. So Karen Creech asks, with the ongoing housing inventory crisis we are facing, have any of the builders on our panel given any forward thought to communities for first-time home buyers, or a moderate price range for 200,000 to 275,000 range? Or is this not a possibility due to the building costs and your profit margins? I know this in the past, this was always a hard range to meet.
That's a wonderful question, and it's something, the concept of not specifically affordable houses, but what we call, you know, attainable houses at this point, is an active conversation going on at the local and state levels. $200,000 to $275,000 for townhouses is reachable if everything is right. So we were able to, you know, we actually started off in Hazel Park at $199,000. Now with selections, and you hear out the door in the low twos. Now, one of the ways we were able to get there is through tax incentive financing that municipalities are more open to embracing at this point through either brownfields or DDA districts. So there is a way to get there. It's a challenge, and oftentimes it requires a little bit of incentive and help from the state and local level. But that is, I completely agree. It's the one thing as an industry we need to focus in on, because we're making all these improvements in you know, in terms of energy efficiency and better housing, but if nobody can afford it, what's the point? I mean, if we have to build a $500,000 or $600,000 house, you know, then unfortunately people can't, you know, a certain percentage of the population can't get into those houses, and they're living in houses that are 30 and 40 years old and on energy codes that are 30 and 40 years old. Our house today that we would build with our standards would save, I think it's almost $1,000 or $1,500 a year in energy costs over a house built in the 60s or 70s. But it's got to be done on an affordable basis so people can afford to move in. Great question.
Darian, thank you, sir. Thank you. That was a great answer. Thank you for joining us today. We're going to move on to Magali and to Barbara Gates. So
thank you so much.
Appreciate you, sir. Thank you, Darren. Yeah, we'll also have more questions, so please stay in with us. Magali Churko and Barbara Gates are with MJC Homes. Barbara, if we can start with you. You have been with the company for 22 years as Assistant Director of Sales and Marketing. Could you tell us about MJC Homes?
Sure. So I started here. Yeah, it'll be 22 years next month. So, but MJC is a family-owned business. They've been in business since 1972, and the senior, Mr. Churko, actually started in the trades a little bit before that. We are, sorry.
Yes, so just for family company, like many of the others here, you know, my dad is the founder. We build across a wide range of products and prices and throughout Southeastern Michigan. We have, you know, multifamily construction that starts under 200,000 all the way up to, you know, multi-million-dollar homes and everything in between. So mjccompanies.com, you can get all the details for any of the projects, locations, anything that we're talking about if you want any of those details. Or if our emails haven't been provided yet, we'll include those in the comments or the notes so that everybody can reach out to us for any follow-up.
Kristen, you're going to provide a whole list of contacts, right, with websites and.
Yes, I will give. I will be emailing all attendees. I have all of our speakers' contact information.
And their websites as well.
Correct.
Perfect. So Magali or Barbara, whoever would like to answer, what communities are you in currently?
Well, we're throughout southeastern Michigan. We're in Wayne, Oakland, and Macomb counties right now. We're working in to have some stuff coming up into Washtenaw County. So it varies over the years. We come into anywhere from 3 to 4 different counties throughout southeastern Michigan.
Yeah, one thing that Robertson, Darian mentioned from Robertson. They're trying to do a lot of this infill and semi-urban. We've been moving a little bit towards that, but we also have a little more of the typical suburban neighborhoods as well. Obviously, there's differences in volume, in economics. So one of the points we talked about earlier was supply of homes and any hesitancy for ramping that up to meet the market demand. A lot of that is limited by land cost. A lot of the work that I do in my role as general counsel is working with our development team and acquisition. And home affordability starts the minute you buy property. If you can't buy a piece of property at a reasonable price, it's impossible to deliver a product at a reasonable price and stay in business. So a lot of our challenges in increasing our ability to build more is finding property, getting it entitled and approved through municipalities with a reasonable amount of density. It'd be, $1 million homes on acre lots are great. They look beautiful, but not everyone can afford them. And that's not really where the lack of supply in the market is. The lack of supply is more on the affordable end. I believe one of the questions was houses under 300,000. One of the ways for builders to be able to deliver a house under 300,000 is for communities to allow greater density, to get greater economy of scale out of the cost of your development. That's a big factor on day one before a house plan is even assigned to a community.
Magali, what communities have offered something like that?
They're coming around to it. A lot of communities now will offer kind of alternative zoning options. And what I mean by that is either cluster developments, PUDs, different options that will allow a developer to increase their density, either in exchange for public benefit. So maybe you're preserving a natural feature, maybe you're building a park. So there are some communities with those trade-offs or that are introducing some more mixed use environments. I think, Troy's a good example of that, where they've allocated some of their kind of main thoroughfares projects along there kind of fall into a special district where you're allowed to do either more density or mixed use. So there's some communities offering that flexibility. The biggest challenge, I think most communities would welcome it, but it's pushback from existing residents. I think that's a major political challenge to increasing that on the supply side.
What do you see are some of your other challenges? For example, maybe labor struggles.
It's hard to find labor, and especially at the rates in the market today. Unemployment and pandemic assistance has been great to help people, but it's also driven up the cost for people to jump back into the workforce. You'll drive by and you'll see gas stations or car washes with signs for $16, $17 an hour, you know, compare that to construction work, which is, you know, more physically demanding, and you know, people are going to want a premium to do that type of work versus something a little bit easier for, you know, similar compensation. So that's
Miguel,
been
just yesterday I was.
No, I was going to say.
Just yesterday I was talking.
Go ahead. Darren talked about the age of the workforce and introducing programs. And we have Michael Soskoff from HBA, and they've been making a big push to introduce educational programs and get you know, the youth and high school students interested in building trades. I think it's a great option, especially if you're comparing entering the workforce versus going to college, and your college is sitting in a Zoom meeting like this instead of being on campus. And I think it's going to sway even more people in the direction of evaluating alternatives to college.
Miguel, yesterday I was talking to a person that had said it would make the most sense to have incentives from the government for builders. Have you heard of anything coming, or have you seen anything?
Incentives to accomplish what? To lower prices? To what type
incentives
of
to encourage builders to build? Incentives to encourage builders to build. You know, there's all these government incentives that come for first-time home buyers, down payment assistance programs. What about assistance to builders, especially in the way of to incentivize builders to build homes, especially with the rising increases of homes?
Yeah, I mean, we would welcome that. I think earlier in the conversation, brownfields and other tax recapture programs have come up. I mean, those are incentives that lower the cost of development and increase our ability to offer an affordable product. But yeah, first-time home buyer incentives, anything on the consumer side, you know, the tax laws, obviously, the ability to deduct, you know, your mortgage payments and other home expenses, obviously, is a benefit to home ownership. So the preservation of those existing benefits is also a factor.
Miguel, are you experiencing any problems with theft due to material price increases, and how do you combat against that?
Problems in what? I'm sorry?
Theft.
Theft. Oh, theft. Okay.
Stealing.
Yeah. So one of the consequences of the pandemic and has been supply chain issues. So it's not just the cost of materials going up, but also the time for delivery. So your options, if you want to keep your delivery of your house within a reasonable window, are to either, you know, stockpile product, order product earlier. I mean, the challenge with that, obviously, if you're stockpiling, where are you going to put it? If you're ordering items too early and they're sitting on a job site, they're liable to be damaged or stolen, subject to weather. I mean, we've had not a lot of incidents, but a few in the past few months where, you know, we caught people trying to steal lumber from job sites. You know, imagine leaving a pile of, you know, gold blocks, you know, out on the street. It's tempting for anybody driving by to grab one and throw it in their car. So it's one of the factors, and you know, we've taken precautions to, you know, add cameras and other security measures to our sites, but you know, it's kind of an inevitable consequence of these prices going up.
Before the pandemic, let's say a home price was $450,000 to $500,000. What have you seen based on a, say, $500,000 home? About how much has the pandemic caused the price of a house to increase? About how much money?
Yeah, the price of the home is a big detail in the difference in price. You know, for our homes that are maybe in the $200,000 to $300,000 range, you know, prices have gone up in the $30,000 range for the $400,000, $500,000 and up, it could be $50,000 to $70,000 difference from a year ago. So we are actively adjusting prices. You know, we get new quotes all the time. I believe Liz mentioned, or Liz or Adam, you used to be able to secure quotes for 6 months for lumber. Now it's 30 days, sometimes 2 weeks. So you have to adjust on a daily basis almost with all the different increases, because, you know, the risk is, you know, we're also locking in contract rates. We're not escalating, or we're not, you know, defaulting and canceling contracts and saying, too bad, you know, we're not making enough money, we're not going to build your house. You know, we're sticking to our contracts and building. So our only option is to price it as accurately as we can at day one.
So Magali, what did you do last year when you got caught in the crossfire of being blindsided by these increases of prices?
I mean, we took our lumps. There's only, you know, there's a window of time where, you know, the contracts were signed pre-pandemic. The houses, you know, maybe the materials hadn't been ordered yet. So for those houses, you know, we honored our contracts and built the homes at those prices. And, you know, we were back to work and making these adjustments, you know, day one that we were back in the office. So it hasn't been something that has, you know, hit us too hard past that, just because we've been so diligent with the staying on top of it.
What is your average completion time of a house?
Yeah, again, you know, the theme is it varies by price, but for our multifamily product, you know, we get the trades there, and essentially we just keep building, and we release buildings at a time when they reach a certain stage. So there's generally always product available, at least at the framing stage. So you have, you know, a few months out from contract on the lower end. You know, stepping up a notch, we will often, we'll dig basements, maybe intending for them to be specs, but offer them for sale. So, you know, you're maybe just stuck to that floor plan or that elevation, but you can still customize everything else within the house. And then past that, for custom homes, you know, the timeline is, you know, at least a year. And, you know, one thing I want to, I think, reinforce for everybody in the audience on this call is, you know, it's also something in the control of the buyer. You know, if we're waiting on selections or, you know, being held up at any stage of the process, yeah, if we're waiting 3 weeks for a cabinet or a kitchen selection, you know, that delays everything else past that. So if you are very intent on a timeline, it's a buyer responsibility as well as a builder one.
And municipalities too. I mean, in some cities, it's like, you know, you're waiting 2 weeks for a permit, and then in other cities, you're waiting 3 months. So really, location has a huge impact on that also.
Mm-hmm. Barb, do you have sales offices, and where are those?
Yeah, we do have individual sales office for each of our projects. We have a couple that, you know, double up because they're in a close vicinity to each other. But if you go to our website, mjccompanies.com, click on single family, and it will take you, there'll be a map there, and it will have the address, the phone number of the salesperson, so you can easily reach out to any of those people, and they're more than happy to help.
What cities are you in? What communities are you in?
We're downriver, Brownstown, Taylor. We're in Wixom, Canton, Rochester Hills.
I made a list earlier because I thought this was coming. Yeah, Macomb, Troy, Oakland Township, Warren, parts of Wixom. We have a few new communities coming soon in Shelby Township, in Orion Township. Also, we're in Heartland. So we are following the development trends as well. We're based in Macomb County, seeing demand shifting to that west side of the metro area as well. So, we're moving further and further out that way as well with new developments. So.
And we're diversified.
Are you also in Chesterfield?
Yeah.
Yes.
Chesterfield, I thought I saw. And then Barb, you were going to say, how are you diversified?
Well, we're very diversified because we go anywhere from $180,000 for our attached condominiums, up to $2 or $3 million for our companies. We also build apartments. So we're extremely diversified. We have a lot of locations throughout southeastern Michigan.
How many starts do you do a year?
Well, we usually try. So this year we started with 105 specs. It's been a great year. We have 9 left. We usually build at least 5 specs in each of our single family home projects. We try to, keep our spec inventory high. Unfortunately, there's a huge demand, and I mean,
unfortunate.
Great. No, it's not. It's for us. It's fortunate, but for the home buyer, it's unfortunate that we just don't have a lot of specs right now, which is very unusual because in the single family home market or in the building market, we usually do 1 to 200, not counting apartments. We do another couple hundred apartments every year also.
The apartments that you build, do you sell the complete apartment building or do you keep it in your portfolio?
We keep them.
Neat. How much do you require from the buyer up front when you build a house for them?
It depends on a lot of things, but anywhere from 3 to 35% depending on what they have, where they're at. Now, what we do that may be different from other builders is we require that minimum down, and then they pay for all their extras up front. There are some instances where they don't do that. So if it's a new build, they're paying the minimum down, and then they pay for all their extras. But if it's a spec home, then whatever their financing is for that spec home, and then if they have any extras after that, then they add that to that.
Barb, what would you like to tell those who might be interested in your homes or who are interested in your homes?
Well, I'd like to say, MJC has been in business for a very long time, and we're financially strong, where other builders take out loans. I'm not saying we don't have loans, we do, but we deal a lot in cash too. And that is what saved us through the recession. That is what drove banks to have us do their receiverships during that time. So we come from a financially strong position. We do quality work. When J.D. Powers was in Michigan, we were one of the top agents. That was our top thing. Our quality is above and beyond. We don't put metal between the walls. We stick build, which drives up the price a little bit here, but we do it right, and we do it the way that a home should be built. I would definitely buy a home from MJC, not because I work for them, but because I know how they build.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Miguel, how about for you?
Well, I guess the thing to know is there is a very thin hierarchy here. So if their customer satisfaction is a big item here, and you're never more than a hallway away from getting to decision makers. So there's not a lot of hierarchy. If there's any issues, you know, they're being dealt with at an executive level. So I feel like that gives customers some, you know, reassurance that, you know, no one's, you know, we're reasonable. We give prompt responses, and we stick to our word.
So I know one of the other questions that Don had was about co-oping, and you know, I just wanted to say, you know, we always co-opt, but now we have pulled back a little bit, and we're only co-oping on specs. Once they're anywhere from rough to drywall, we're putting them in the multi-list. And that's just because we don't know what the prices are going to be on the houses yet. And before you could walk in and reserve, like Darian said, they could walk in and reserve, and we'd hold it for 2 weeks or a month. Now we don't do that. If you want a reservation, that means we'll hold the lot for a couple of weeks, but we're not holding the price. And unfortunately, that's just the way it has to be. I mean, there's only so much that you can do in this economy. And certainly we want the public to have the best price, but we need to stay in business like everybody else does. We are getting pushback from the realtor community in regards to that, because we have always co-opt. So, but until things calm down a little bit, you know, there's really just nothing that we can do.
Thank you, Barbara. Thank you for being here today. Magali, thank you so much. We're going to move on to Pete Johnston in just a minute. Is there any questions, Kristen?
Nope, you're all
set.
Right.
We're going to move on to Pete. Okay. And then we're going to come back and open it all up for questions as well before the end. We have 20 minutes remaining. Pete Johnston, it's a pleasure to have you today.
Thank you very much.
How long have you been representing companies in the way of building?
So according to my resume there, I work for several different builders there. They're all small builders, but well diverse, because they also build apartments and businesses and stuff like that. So unlike building 100 residential homes, maybe we only do 20 to 50 residential homes, and they vary anywhere from $400,000 up to $1 million. And I'm working in multi-generations as well. I am also part of the Low Chirico family and not the Chirico family, where I'm still working for original gentleman that's 91 years old, and as well as second and third generations throughout the other parties that I work for, which is Nino Homes, DM Homes, and Palazzolo Brothers and Building Company.
Thank you. That's a wonderful introduction. What type of homes do your builders do?
Predominantly custom homes from ground up. We don't do a whole lot of specs right now because we can't keep them around long enough. As soon as we start the basement, they're gone. So the bulk of our jobs are all custom build jobs, and tweaking them and modifying based on their wants, needs, and of course, most importantly, the budget, which unfortunately keeps rising right now with the cost of product right now.
Pete, will you do a custom home on someone's property?
Yes, we do a lot of off sites right now. And so if they have a lot, let's say in Troy or Dryden or something like that, we will go out to those houses, and typically they come to us seeking plans that they like. That way they don't have to go from scratch, okay? And yes, we do the off sites.
Who does the financing? Who provides the financing when it's a custom home?
We usually insist on doing new construction loans, such as Lake Michigan Credit Union there. And that way we know that the house right up front is appraised for them. They are affording it. I don't have to wait like I did in 2008 when everybody was banking on their stock portfolios to mature.
And do you, when it's a spec home or a home that is nearly completed, do you then build the home and then sell the finished product?
Yes. So yes, we try to complete our spec homes, but they never reach past drywall before they're scarfed up right now.
So what would you say is your percentage, spec versus custom?
Specs are only 20%. The rest of it will all be custom.
Do you see this changing in the future as the cost of materials are so volatile and uncertain, where you will try to do more and more spec homes where you
Yes.
can't have to, when you don't have to define the price until the house is done?
Yes, that way we'll have more control of those costs that keep changing daily, so to speak. And that way you can take it all the way to cabinetry. And at least at that point, you'll have a little better control of the cost and what we can tell people.
What areas do you typically build in? I heard you say Troy.
Yep. So Troy, Rochester, Shelby, and Chesterfield right now.
And will you go outside of those parameters when a person has the land?
Yep, gone as far down as Canton for subdivisions, as well as all sites down there, and as far north as Traverse City on occasion.
I've had the pleasure of working with you a couple times, Pete. And as a lender, do you provide and pay a commission to the buyer agent?
Yes, we pay 3% on base for just about everything we're building.
What is is there any process specifically that a real estate agent needs to know so that they can ensure that they get paid?
Yes, I prefer that they show up the first time, even though, yes, there are occasions where maybe they can't reach because they're double booked or whatever, and I'll try to honor that the best I can, but I do want them to partake in the contract process, not necessarily the selection process.
Why is it a problem when the client comes in without their agent?
Because then it's he said, she said, and we're trying to go through all the standards.
Right.
And if their client is around, and hopefully they're been in the business for a while, that hopefully they understand when we're talking about the various standards, they can better explain to the customer why not everything is included in a standard price, why there are options which may cost more money.
Do you have any recommendations for well, I'll just read the question directly. What do you recommend to the salesperson to properly instruct their client? Do you have any specific instructions or advice?
No, depending, without them putting their foot in their mouth, depending on how well versed they are on new construction, if I sense they don't know much, I prefer that I'll take the lead and I'll try to walk through every step of it from the standards to what possible upgrades may be. That way, when they see a $400,000 house or $500,000 house, why is the model $750,000? And I try to explain to them, just like buying a car, they all have 4 tires. It's just the various amenities that may cost them more money. And if that's what they want to do, I'm here to create a budget for them, and I expect them to stay in it.
So Pete, I'd like to spend a couple minutes with you talking about appraisal problems and how you overcome them, or how your loan officer or real estate agent as a team, you overcome those appraisal issues.
Like MJC or Robertson Brothers, I take good statistics on all our completed homes. I make sure that the appraisers are well aware when I get notification that they are going to appraise. Unfortunately, as the lumber's gone up exponentially lately, we are popping the bubble right now. And depending on what lender they go with, sometimes that seems to affect how good or bad these are, or how flexible the appraisers are in terms of trying to see past our challenge right now. So I am getting shortages, not by very much. And most of the time, they're willing to pay the difference. We cannot anymore because obviously we're absorbing all the lumbers that goes up $20,000 or $30,000 at a time.
Right.
And I have offered a couple of people their money back if they can't proceed, and because we're obviously not going to keep absorbing all the losses.
Yeah, definitely. We recently had a client that the appraisal was a little bit short. I think it was about $10,000. And instead of the client walking away or them having to bring $10,000 more to the closing, I suggested that they pick up PMI insurance for $38 a month. Yep. And that was their only increase, $38 a month.
Right. And that was a great solution for that.
They thought they were pretty pleased with it. They were pretty happy with it as well.
Yep.
Are you experiencing any subcontractor manpower troubles different from in the past?
Only on some of my trades. Unfortunately, my rough carpenter does a lot of NJC stuff. So unfortunately, he's battled between going back there and over to our stuff. So that is a problem. But all our trades are very loyal to us. I've been here for 25 years and we use the same trades day in, day out. And so sometimes it's just a matter of waiting for them to catch up. And that part doesn't hurt us too bad.
Are you having any supply chain issues, Pete, in the way of, say, appliances? And how are you overcoming that?
Closing a lot. Well, bit by bit, I've eliminated most of the appliances out of our package right now. That way it becomes their problem. Not that I want it to be a problem, but yes, I am closing on houses right now without appliances because it's taking that long to get here now.
And what do you require for your down payment for your clients who are purchasing a home with you?
Okay. Assuming that we tried to do all of them or most of them all in new construction loans right now, typically it's $25,000 down, and then whatever the balance is based on what they agree with Lake Michigan Credit Union or somebody like that in terms of completing the job.
Great. And what would you like to tell those who are interested in your home?
Well, despite the things going up right now, they can sell their current property at a great dollar right now. Interest rates are still wonderful. I just can't fix the costs as they're going up right now. But so at least you can get 2 out of 3 opportunities right now.
I love that you're on the east side. You're a custom built builder. I think you said that your house price ranges are typically $500,000 to $1 million. Is that right, Pete?
That is
or
correct.
where are your house prices?
In Chesterfield, I can be a little bit cheaper. I mean, in the low 4s to 450. As I get to Shelby, I'm going anywhere from $500,000 to $1 million.
Thank you so much. Is there any questions in there?
No, you're all set. Go ahead.
Pete, thank you. Thank you for your quick. I love talking with you, just going back and forth with you. I really appreciate you being here today.
My pleasure.
Marty, I'd like to have you tune in and give us a little bit of information on construction loans.
All right, Dawn. Well, first off, I want to thank you, Dawn and Kristen, for hosting this. This has been a great call, really informative. Builders are very important to LMCU, both for our residential lending and our commercial lending. So it's very important that we support the HBA, the builders on this call, and the realtors that do business with the builders. So thank you for having us on the call.
Yes, sir. So tell me about your construction program.
Well, the construction program.
Let's start with down payment, if you could.
So we go 5% down to 95% LTV. And what we'll do is a construction draw loan. It's a one-time close. I wrote down some of the benefits of doing it. You have interest-only payments during construction. You got a low down payment. You can secure today's interest rate. You have oversight of the construction working on your behalf. And then only one set of closing costs. The lot can be purchased with using the construction loan, and the buyer is fully approved for both the construction and the permanent financing at the same time. So it's a one-time close. You're done after you lock in, and everybody's on the same page, so you don't have to come back and qualify again if something should happen.
Are you able to finance greater than, say, $550,000 with also 5% down, or what happens with those jumbo loans?
With the jumbo loan, we're the largest credit union in Michigan. So we have $10 billion with the B, $10 billion in deposits. Our deposits have gone up during COVID. Unbelievable. They've really increased. So now we're taking that deposit money and lending it. So if you're a jumbo loan, then what we'll do is a portfolio loan. So we'll take those deposits that we have on hand and lend that. So that's how we do that, as well as non-warrantable condos. A lot of times when somebody can't go traditional lending on a non-warrantable condo, then we'll use our portfolio funds to finance those loans as well.
And I'm sorry, Marty, I don't think I properly introduced you. I apologize. I got so excited just to get started with you. You're the Chief Business Development Officer, correct, for Lake Michigan Credit Union?
You are correct. Yep. That's my job, is to work with the builders in Michigan and Florida. We've got 55 branches, offices in Michigan and Southwest Florida. So we have offices down in Naples and Fort Myers too. And so my job is to work with the builders, work with the realtors, and interface with our team. So we supply commercial loans, insurance. We're a pretty robust credit union. We're the second largest provider of purchase loans for credit unions in the United States. There's only one other credit union that's larger than us in the United States. We're the largest in Michigan.
What's the one in the United States that's larger than you?
Navy Federal.
Oh, Navy Federal.
They're the ones that
Okay,
do all the
makes sense.
military. So they're huge. They're really big.
Sure. Mm-hmm. So do you do vacant land loans as well?
Yes, we do lot loans. The way that we do a lot loan is we do a 3-1 arm or a 5-1 arm. So if you have a credit score of 720 or above, you can put 10% down and do a 3-1 arm with us. If you want to put 20% down, you can have a 680 credit score and do a 5-1 arm or a 3-1 arm. And then we have closing fees on that. They're all amortized over 30 years. So we try to keep it simple so you can buy a piece of property and then work with a builder to actually build the home. So we try to work on that.
I want to keep most of the time that we have left remaining for questions, and then I want to go to Mike. Could you tell us a little bit about your commercial division, what you offer, what does that look like?
What we did 6 years ago, I sat with Mike Stoskoff at the HBA, one of the events, and we asked Mike, Mike, how could we help the builders in Michigan? And he's the expert. So he had said, having commercial loans lending, a lot of the big banks had pulled back, as all of you know, that have been through 2008, 9, and 10. And that's where I used to work. And a lot of the people at LMC used to work at big banks and have come over to the credit union. So what we said to Mike was, help us navigate through this. And so we started setting up commercial loans for builders to do spec loans, to do lines of credit. And we've done that pretty robustly. And a lot of the builders that are on this call work with us on a regular basis. So those commercial loans support the spec loans as well as lines of credit. And then also we are really robust with our insurance for builders as well. A lot of the builders that are on this call are customers of ours in our insurance too. So we try to support, and Mike has walked us through, Susan's walked us through from the HBA to support the builders in as best we can as a lender, when a lot of the builders or a lot of the banks had pulled out of the market.
Awesome. Marty, thank you for being here today. Thank you so much. I think just having your presence here, and I just really appreciate your contributions to the industry. Just really impressed with you and how many years you've been in our industry. Thank you.
Thank you, Dawn. And I really want to point out to everyone on the call, Dawn is a quality person. I know her. We attended the same church, and I know her background and her reputation. She's a quality person, great person to work with. So it's great that you host this call, and this education has been really instrumental. So thank you, Dawn.
Appreciate you, sir. Okay, Mike Stoskoff, I'd like to spend some time talking with you. So Mike, can you introduce yourself? Tell us who you are and a little bit about how you're involved with builders.
Sure. So my name's Michael Stoskoff. I'm the CEO of the Home Builders Association of Southeastern Michigan. We cover Oakland, Wayne, Macomb, and St. Clair counties. So we're a trade association based on its name, primarily for residential builders, remodelers, trade subcontractors, and then all the service industries that want to work with them. So that includes financial institutions like Michigan Credit Union, who's our largest sponsor, by the way. Thank you, Marty. But also realtors, insurance companies, et cetera, et cetera. So we put on education and event programs. We provide strategic information. We also have a foundation. I wanted to mention before too many people dropped off the call. I pasted in the chat section earlier. You probably have to scroll up, but McKelly, several of the builders have mentioned about labor and workforce. We do have a skilled trade scholarship fund that's available for 18 to 25-year-olds. Applications are being accepted. This was actually founded in part out of the generosity of Paul C. Robertson Jr. and his wife Cheryl, who had a founding scholarship to that. But I put the link in there as well. So if you have any kids, grandkids, or your clients have kids or coworkers have kids that are coming out of construction trades program in a high school and or going to a 2-year college or whatever, I encourage you to copy that link and pass it on to them. So we're doing everything we can to try to get the industry to be able to make it into that next generation and work through these issues.
That's amazing. I see the link here. That's really awesome. What ages of kids are they? Post high school or in high school?
Yeah, so really graduating seniors out of high school. So some may graduate at 17, but 18 to 25-year-olds could be used for anything from going to a 2-year college. But really, what we're looking for, we're not looking for the 4-year Michigan State graduate in construction management program. There are scholarships available for them, but this isn't what those scholarships are for. This is really truly for the skilled trades. So if they're coming out of a construction trades program, let's say at Dakota High School, which is one of our student chapters, they don't have to be in a student chapter to qualify, but as an example, out there in Macomb Township, coming out, they're ready to go to work for their dad as a rough framer on Churko's job, MJC's jobs, or over there for Pete Johnston, whatever. But they need tools. They maybe need transportation. That scholarship can apply to that. There's others that may be looking for their electrical certification, so they're going to go to Schoolcraft College, or they're going to go to Southeast Michigan Construction Academy. It would apply for tuition as well. So several different scholarships are available, and yeah, so it's worth looking into.
Mike, how many members do you have?
Presently, we have over 700 member companies, and then including employees that can also be considered affiliate members, we have 1,400 members. We're as large as we've been. We're one of the largest associations in the country, including our affiliate members, and we're the largest we've been since before the Great Recession.
What percentage of your members are associates versus builders?
Yeah, so we have about 300 builder and remodeler members. So actually all the builders listed on this call are members. In addition to another 297 or so. And then we have about 400 associate members. So right now we have actually, a majority here are realtors. We have 15 to 20 realtors that are members of our associations, again, because they want to network and interface with builders or with folks like Marty. They want to have that in their professional network. So
that's wonderful. What would you encourage real estate agents or business professionals that are interested in becoming part of your your builders association to do?
Yeah, well, quite simply, go to builders.org/join. We have, I call it the back of the TurboTax box. We have 3 levels of membership: a basic, pro, and premium. There are different, benefits that go along with each level. At our premium level, we actually issue every month a 9-county permit report. So Oakland, Wayne, Macomb, and then every county that touches it from Port Huron around to Monroe, that lists all the builders who are pulling new home permits and or new apartment permits. So if you want, as part of your business, to approach builders, because what's interesting in 2021 so far, first 3 months, January through March, 232 builder companies have pulled at least 1 permit. 95% of those have pulled no more than 10 permits. So our market is primarily a small builder market. So if you want to know who's building where, because you want to strategically be able to take your clients to see new home builders and partner with them, we have a resource available to you that is, very strategically positioned. So.
Thank you for that, Mike. Just real quick, could you tell us about the number of permits that are being pulled in our market?
Yeah. So another thing that we do, sometimes you may see it in media, particularly D-Business will pick it up, but sometimes even the Free Press or Detroit News will pick it up. But 2021 is actually off to a terrific start. Obviously, comparing things to 2020 doesn't make much sense because our industry shut down for 2 months, right? But Macomb County is actually off to its best start since 2006, and Oakland and Wayne counties, particularly Western Wayne County, but including Detroit now too. Oakland and Wayne are off to their best start since 2017. So again, even with all the cost increases that we've seen, and builders are putting in escalation clauses or, signing cost plus contracts to try to mitigate some of that exposure, it doesn't seem yet to have hindered or suppressed the market. The cost increases aren't doing that. I think there will come a point where it becomes unattainable, as Darian mentioned, with those cost increases. But hopefully, again, this market continues, because we do need new homes to give people a place to live.
Mike, what areas does your Home Builders Association touch? Who do you service?
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, Oakland, Wayne, Macomb, and St. Clair counties are our charter area from our national association. So that's where we can actively recruit members to join our association. But we have members actually that are part of our association that are as far away as New Jersey and Louisiana, if you believe that. So, but that's where we actively recruit. But we have members actually, I would say in the 9-county area. We have some members that are in Livingston, et cetera. But they work with builders in Oakland, Wayne, Macomb, and St. Clair counties. Another program that we do that actually launches on June 1st, and Lake Michigan Credit Union is the banking sponsor for that, is our annual Parade of Homes. So paradehba.com on June 1st. We've got 36 parade homes this year. I think all the builders on here are participating in our Parade of Homes. And so that's also another great resource for realtors to look at for their clients.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, Mike, you are a wealth of information and so extremely knowledgeable. You have been the one I've talked to the most through preparing for this seminar today, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you for your knowledge. Thank you so much for your help in organizing the event. I mean, Mike was really in the backdrop getting this organized with me and helping me get great builders onto this team call today. So I'm so very appreciative. Thank you for that.
You're very welcome. And appreciate
you. Is there anything lastly you'd like to say to those who are watching, listening?
Nope, I think I covered it all. I know be respectful of time. We're a little bit over time, but any questions, either here or reach out to me.
Yeah, so Kristen's going to be sending an email to all parties who were in today, signed up, and giving full contact information for even those who couldn't attend. She'll make sure that she gets the full contact sheets out. If anyone would like, you are welcome to unmute to ask questions. I'll just see if there's any questions in the chat, but you're welcome to, we'll just maybe hang out for less than 5 minutes and just see if anyone has any final questions. I'm sure our builders, just want to make sure that anyone has any questions that they want, they get a chance to ask them.
Dawn, I just want to make an offer I put in the chat. If somebody wants a construction draw loan resource book that walks a person through the construction draw loan process, they can just email me and I'll mail it to them.
That sounds good. And do you mind putting your email in the open chat? And Magali, thanks for posting your company contact there as well. I think Darian did the same thing. Awesome, Darian. Parade of Homes, that's really fabulous. I'm very much interested in that, and I know a lot of real estate agents really enjoy going to the Parade of Homes event. I myself am looking forward to becoming a member, so thank you, Mike.